Tekashi is not somebody to feel sorry for, chiefly because he deliberately planned to co-opt the 9 Trey Bloods into his personal marketing plan. He said that in court. They didn't go grab him and victimize him. He was a willing participant, and if anything, he victimized them. And then when his gangster rap songs turned into gangster activities, he quickly got on the witness stand, which, to be honest, might have saved his life.
In the world, my streaming numbers is retarded. Like, my numbers, like, you pull them up, comparing to people is not even comparable.
So now in this part, I want to explore just how antisocial Tekashi is and was for leveraging the public's obsession with gangs and gang violence for his own profit, and to challenge you, me, and all of us as the audience for pop culture about why we are part of promoting it. So let's go out to Los Angeles, birthplace of the Bloods and Crips, to see how nearly 50 years of those organizations' existence has impacted communities and people, not in rap videos, but in real life. So one day I was asking someone I knew here in LA if he had anyone interesting, not a criminal, for me to interview in LA, and he suggested I interview a guy who does executive protection for celebrities. That's how I met Lucho and his brother Moody and their friend Trucar.
Go to certain clubs and, you know, I work with different bouncers and other guards, and to where it's like, you know, that face card good. Gang violence, especially in the line of work I do. I mean, I'd have been in venues and events where it's 20, 30 dudes from the other side of the tracks, and I'm by myself, you know what I'm saying, suited and booted, ready to work. And, you know what I'm saying, it's a line of respect as a man, you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes Lucho is tasked with guarding some of the very people who are, at least to me, making money off of gang culture.
I'm walking through Brompton right now. I'm in my hood right now, nigga. Nigga, fuck Chris Brown talking about, nigga.
Nowadays, I swear, you feel me? That's how niggas even getting their money and shit. We can't even talk about niggas getting their money shit. That's how it is.
And at the same time, he was born in the Nickerson Gardens in Watts, and he has to navigate the realities of that.
Like, a lot of people, especially in LA, they use the gang banging to feel like accepted, or, you know what I'm saying, just trying to feel protected in a way.
And Trucar, who's around supposed gang members in Watts just because his grandmother lives in Watts, he also has a tricky game to play.
So it's like, you know, I'm from the area, you know what I'm saying, and I pay attention to the talent, the work ethic, and all that type stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't have to go that route. You got family from over here and there, you know what I'm saying, to where it's like, keep focusing on your craft, you know what I'm saying?
So we can get up out of here.
He can't help that his granny still live in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying?
Now, noticing all the things that these guys have to go through to think about just where they go, who they talk to, what they say, what they can and can't do, with who and where at. It must drain their mental energy for figuring out the normal things of life. Now, LA's murder rate is much lower right now than cities like Detroit or Baltimore, but in some parts of LA at least, it definitely feels like that would change fast if most of the guys weren't as careful as they are.
Hold on, let me get this right, because I don't want to sit around. You good? Answer one more time.
Now, as an example of just how serious things can get, back in '05, starting on Christmas Eve, there was a war between two groups in public housing in Watts. Over 6 weeks, 26 people got shot, 9 of them died. The local schools had to shut down because it wasn't safe for kids to go, and the area around the projects was basically a riot zone with police and ambulances in and out all day. And all that happened probably in a half a square mile. In the Nickerson Gardens, which is one of 4 housing projects in Watts, all with different, very, very well-known street fraternities headquartered out of them. There's a mural of MLK and a memorial to the 1992 Watts gang truce. And I was there with Moody, Lucho's brother, and I saw the big bullet holes chunked out of the MLK mural because there's an opening to Compton Boulevard right there, and that's where if someone wants to shoot in there, that's where they do it at.
From 1 to like 16, I had everything I needed. I could go to the store, I could buy some clothes, I could get my re-up.
Buy clothes from...
All in the projects. This is the biggest project in Watts on the West Coast, period.
And the whole, it's west of the Mississippi is the biggest one.
It's the biggest motherfucker. Yeah. So we had everything we needed, from the candy house to the stores to the, we need
legal, illegal, everything in between.
All up in here. So we didn't have to go nowhere, so we kind of isolated ourselves, grew, and just kind of made ourselves strong. They say iron sharpen iron, so.
I do know that Top Dog Entertainment of Kendrick Lamar fame sponsors a huge concert there every December. I'm sure other people help set up the concert. And Rihanna, one of the biggest stars on the planet, has performed right there in the middle of the birthplace of one of the oldest, most infamous gangs in Los Angeles. Now, the newspapers characterize the Nickerson Gardens as terrorized by gangs, quote unquote. I didn't get that impression when I was there. Maybe it was in the past, I wouldn't know.
Songs ain't from the hood. Hey, they say songs ain't from the hood. Get off me though. Oh man, that's like me though. What's happening?
So it's a long way from living in the Nickerson Gardens to being Tekashi 6ix9ine. And in California, the gang problem has been so bad for so long that there's the infamous gang injunctions you've heard about.
County jail, but when you go to the county jails, when you're on the main line, you wear blues. But when you do when you have the gang injunction, they put you in reds and they put you on the floor. One was at the gang injunction floor. It's some Mexican dudes in there. But when you go to that floor in the county jail, the gang injunction, there's no politics. So it's no Mexicans versus blacks, no whites, no nothing. It's all one. Everybody get to be one. It's no politics.
And can they actually hold you and sentence you for that?
So what it do is like a misdemeanor. So it's like if he put a restraining order against you and you keep violating the restraining order, eventually it could turn into a crime. But the first time you violate the restraining order, most likely you get out the next day. Like bail used to be $500 for that.
And sometimes there's nothing, though.
It'd be best for you to go to court because you will be getting released if you don't go 3 or 4 times. But now when you keep going up in there, what happens is that start building up for your thing. So let's just say that you go to jail now for a gun. You got these 4 or 5 gang injunction things on you now. You got gang enhancement on that gun. So that gun turns to 15 years.
Oh, so they use it as a way to set you up.
It's enhancement.
So in and of itself, isn't that really as close to nothing, but...
It's not deadly, but after you get involved in it, yeah.
And you get a real case.
I beat 2 of them.
Oh, but you can beat them.
I beat them. I took them to trial. See, they misdemeanors. Who take misdemeanors to trial? I do.
As you can see, if you happen to be born into certain areas of LA, it's definitely not fun to be in a gang, and not just for the obvious reasons. But how about you get put on the list as a member of a gang that you might not actually be a member of by the sheriffs or the police, and so now you maybe break in a house or something, and they double your time because you get a gang enhancement. Back when the 3 strikes law was in heavy effect, I was visiting San Bernardino. I read a news story about a guy who did an armed robbery when he was 17. He was in a gang at the time, so bam, 2 strikes. He got out of prison after a few years. He started working in a barber shop. The police raided it for selling bootleg CDs and DVDs. And because the 3rd strike didn't have to be a violent crime, it could be any felony, this kid really got 27 years for selling bootleg DVDs. Hopefully he got out very, very, very early. As for Tekashi and rappers and us, the general public, we're so infatuated with gangs and especially the Bloods these days. It seems like it's been definitely amplified by rap music, and most of the amplifiers are doing it just to boost their image. After all, if you take the gang out of gangster rap, what would you have?
These niggas everywhere. That's from everywhere. That's just gonna see for sure. So whatever you banging,
or what I represent or stand for, I'll let it be known, or like this is how but.
I mean, the same people that even got hurt through their situations is probably even my family that even got hurt through the situation. So, you feel me? They just taking it a different way. Right. So, you run into a nigga that's running into it, taking it that way, you might run into a situation.
You become a street terrorist. So once you become a street terrorist, it's like having Osama bin Laden inside your courtroom. What would you do to him?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Now when you label yourself as a street, because what happens is you have to sign to the gang injunction. So once you sign to the gang injunction,
You're admitting
you're a street terrorist.
you admitted you're in Gang X.
That's what I've never done. See, it's 5 elements to gang. You have to have tattoos. You have to be caught with a buddy doing something. You have to be caught with pictures before. The white cars that they give you, so many amount of them have to be passing, and you have to be caught in a crime. I mean, you have to have pictures with the same gang people to prove that you are in this gang and that you're doing stuff for this gang and not for self. Well, the only way you can get violated, it had to be another injunction member who said he was an injunction member with you. So let's say that you and your dad was on gang injunction. You can't be together.
You and your own close family member?
You and your brothers. I done got arrested for being with brothers, cousins, dads. So let's say, like, you know, we grew up in the projects in Nicholson Gardens. So your porch is the hood. So if you just sitting on your porch with your dad, technically you and your daddy in the hood.
Wow.
But that's your porch. You know what I'm saying?
And because it's public housing, no, it's not really your porch, it's the government's porch.
And the government area happens to belong to the bounty hunters. So as they feel like every part of it is a gang. It's the hood. It's not no civilized part of it.
There's no
granny part. It's no where you just went with your kids. It's all a gang to them.
So don't worry, I will get back to the Tekashi snitch bashing in the next episodes, but I wanted to remind everybody of the context of gangs, and of course, LA isn't even the most violent place for gangs in America right now. That would be Chicago, but it's a problem all over.